Good evening and welcome. We are so glad to have all of you here with us. Happy April, everybody. We're happy to have you join us this evening as we have our City Council meeting for this evening. So we will get started here in just a moment. We'll ask that Gary Harris come forward to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Present arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. At this time, we invite you to join us in a moment of silence. You can use this time for silent prayer, reflection, or however you would like to prepare for the meeting. Thank you all very much. Council members, you have the minutes from March the 25th, our last regular meeting. Are there any changes or do we have a motion to adopt as submitted?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? At this time, we will open the floor for citizen comments on public matters. We invite you to come down to our podium. Please use the microphone. Pull it over close to you and stand fairly close to it to state your name. And you have 3 minutes to share your thoughts. And so we are happy to have you here this evening. So at this time, we will open the floor for any comments on the public issue.
Good evening. I'm Bill Fleischer. I don't have a comment as much as a question. I've heard all kind of different stories regarding the initial agreement the city made with the university regarding the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if you could tell a little bit of the history or the true details of that, just so those of us who don't know are informed.
Okay. Thank you. We'll get to that. We'll come to that after we have the rest of the public comment. We'll have a response for that. Is there any other public comment or question out there? Okay, hearing none. Oh, wait, sir. Okay. Yeah, I didn't mean to go too fast. You go right ahead.
Yes, I have a question.
Could you state your name?
Ed Harless. And what it is now when y'all have the public hearing, we all have comments about, like you do everywhere. This is my first council meeting here.
Uh-huh.
In other words, will people be able to speak on it?
So a public hearing is when the floor is open very much like this, and you'll have time to come to the podium to make your statement. I assume, are you regarding to the public hearing that we'll have next week on taxes?
No, the public hearing about the result.
Later this evening, the joint public hearing. It is an opportunity for you to come forward and make any statements that you would like to make or ask any questions.
Okay, and I won't take no more of your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I apologize for jumping ahead. I didn't think you were talking about the public hearing this evening. I thought you were referring to next week, but absolutely, that works. Are there any other comments from citizens or questions? Well, at this time, we'll close that portion of the meeting, and we will give a quick council response. And I'll give a very short history of the READY program, and then I may turn it over to David to ask you if you will fill in any other details about the agreement with the Radford University Hotel, LLC. Back in 2018, 2019, council determined that we wanted to provide an incentive as a community, and working with the EDA, the Economic Development Authority, a program was developed that would provide a rebate on taxes paid for new development. And that was ultimately set at a level of about, I can't remember the maximum ceiling we had in there, but it's at least $26 million. I don't have that right in front of me, and I apologize. The idea was that by doing that kind of incentive, it was new money to the city, that we would rebate some of the new money for development, whether it be a restaurant or a shop or a shopping center or what ultimately became a hotel. And that the city would receive ancillary benefits in addition to that. So we would receive up to 20% of the value of that, because they could receive up to 80% rebated depending on how much they had invested in the property and go from there. So David, can you give more specific details about the Radford University Foundation?
Do you mind if I interject real quick? Another reason that we come up with the program is for transparency. When I was running, I kept hearing from people in the community that they felt like some people got sweetheart deals, some people didn't. It just sort of depended. And so at that point, we said, well, not only do we want to encourage businesses to come here because we like tax bases and jobs, and people to eat at our restaurants and those wonderful things, but we also wanted everyone in our community and people coming into our community to know that if you invest this amount, then this is the expectation. So there wasn't any sweetheart deals, no secret handshakes. Everyone was upfront and clear as to what their investment would look like when they come to our community. So just want to interject that, sorry.
Yes, I think but you all have covered kind of the basics. There was also a performance agreement required, and that performance agreement is driven by each individual project that comes up. So in the case of the hotel, you also had meals, lodging taxes that were also involved, and I think ultimately sales, but that's not all part of it in this first year. But the total amount of the revenue far exceeded the expectations and the job creation and the investment that was made. So that allowed them to take advantage of the 80% rebate opportunity for real estate, and that's what's before council now. We had to put it off from the last meeting, and I think it'll be on the agenda next go round. And the project has generated $325,000 roughly, a little bit more than that, and the amount of the rebate is $153,000, I think.
Does that answer your question? I wanted to make sure we got to what you were looking for.
I just had heard that there was some reneging.
I don't think there's been any change. Council has not acted on it at this point. Okay. Is there any further question or comment? Okay. All right, moving forward, we have some wonderful things to celebrate here in our community. We do have some proclamations. We're going to begin. Mr. Davis has a proclamation for National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, which is designated to be April 14th through the 20th. Bobby?
City of Radford proclamation, National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of the police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality of and accuracy of information obtained from the citizens who telephone the City of Radford Emergency Communications Center, and whereas public safety telecommunications are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergencies services, whereas public safety telecommunications are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas the public safety telecommunicators of the City of Radford had contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients, and whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Radford declares the week of April the 14th, 20th, 24 to be National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in Radford in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe. I would like to make a motion to approve this proclamation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations. Do we have someone that would like to come down and accept this on behalf of our telecommunications team? In fact, do we have a whole lot of someones we can recognize? Come on down. We want to give you a round of applause. Bobby, will you take that down to them? We'll just stand up here. That way you don't have to try to make your way. I don't want you to have to run up and down with you. hop along. Well, thank you. Congratulations, and thank you all so much for the work you do. Bobby, you get right up there with them with the proclamation. All right. One more round of applause. Thank you so much. I have visited with our telecommunications officers before, and folks have no idea the call volume that they deal with and the hard work that they have to do to keep our citizens safe. And I just want to say thank you again. We appreciate you so much, and we recognize the importance you have to our community. So thank you all so much, and happy Telecommunications Week coming up next week. We also want to recognize our animal care officers. They do an incredible job, and we never are able to provide enough resources for all these wonderful things, but we want to say thank you. Jesse has a proclamation here for National Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week, which is also April 14th through the 20th. Jesse?
Whereas the National Animal Care and Control Association, NACA, is committed to setting the standard of professionalism in animal welfare and public safety through training, networking, and advocacy. And whereas NACA has designated the second week of April each year as Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week. And whereas animal control officers dedicate their lives to the health and safety of at-risk, helpless animals and to the protection of the citizens in the community. And whereas animal control officers respond to calls for service to protect the welfare of helpless animals and pets and rescue them from injury, disease, abuse, and starvation. Whereas animal control officers provide essential community functions, including the enforcement of animal control laws, protecting the public from diseases such as rabies, and educating the public on the proper care of the community's pets. And whereas federal, state, and local government officials throughout the country take this time of the year to recognize, thank, and commend all animal control officers for the dedicated service they provide to the citizens of the Commonwealth. And whereas the Commonwealth of Virginia recognizes and commends animal control officers for the many dedicated and long hours of service they perform in serving Virginia and fulfilling the commitment to providing the highest and most efficient level of customer service. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Radford City Council that the week of April 14th through the 20th, 2024 be recognized as Animal Care and Control Appreciation Week in Radford. And be it further proclaimed that the Radford City Council extends its gratitude and appreciation to Radford's animal control officers for their continued dedication and professional assistance to the citizens of the city of Radford. Mayor and Council, I would make a motion that we accept this proclamation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations. Come on down, and let's give them a round of applause as well. Come on over closer. Here we go. Thank you. I got to say, again, this is another team that are just superstars in our community. They really help our animal and pet population, and we can't say thank you enough. We appreciate everything you do.
And it's
Have a great week.
And it's kitten season. Yep. So they were down to one cat, correct? And now we've got some kittens. So if anyone's looking for a cute little kitten, they're there, waiting on you.
There you go.
Oh, and solar eclipse names. So, I mean, it's beckoning you.
Thank you. Our next proclamation is for National Crime Victims' Rights Week. You know, we have folks whose lives are impacted by the actions of others, and we have advocates for those who have had to participate in the legal process, for those who have been considered victims of crimes, for those who have been witnesses of crimes, and they really are an important team to help cope with this part of the judiciary system. Ms. Foster also has a proclamation for the week of April 21st through the 27th, 2024, which is National Crime Victims' Rights Week. Jesse?
Whereas the term victim is more than just a label and has legal standing and protections that go along with it. And whereas Crime Victims' Rights Acts passed here in Virginia and at the federal level guarantee victims the right to meaningfully participate and use their voice in the criminal justice process. And whereas victim service providers, advocates, law enforcement officers, attorneys, and other allied professionals can help survivors find their justice by enforcing these rights. And whereas including and elevating the voices of survivors makes certain they are heard and seen and creates a path to forging and sustaining community trust. And whereas engaging survivors creates responses and services that are credible, meaningful, and centered on individual needs. And whereas National Crime Victims' Rights Week provides an opportunity to recommit to listening to crime survivors in every space where decisions are made that could impact them. And whereas Radford City, Floyd County Victim Witness is hereby dedicated to amplifying the voices of survivors and creating an environment where survivors have the confidence that they will be heard, believed, and supported. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Radford does hereby proclaim the week, April 21st through the 27th, 2024, as Crime Victims' Rights Week and reaffirms our commitment to creating a victim service and criminal justice response that assists all victims of crime throughout the year and expressing our sincere gratitude and appreciation for those community members, victim service providers, and criminal justice professionals who are committed to improving our response to all victims of crime so that they may find relevant assistance, support, justice, and peace. Mayor and Council, I would like to make a motion that we accept this proclamation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much, and thank you to our team. Do we have anyone here to receive this tonight? Come on down, please. And we want to applaud you for your efforts. Thank you so much. Would you go to our podium so everyone can hear you? And thank you for coming this evening.
I'm Teresa McKenzie. I'm the Assistant Director of Radford City Floyd County Victim Witness. Sarah Campbell couldn't be here tonight. She works the Radford office, and for the past 10 years, I've worked the Floyd office. We have our 5K that's coming up in Bissac Park. We partner with the Victim Services with the Department of Corrections, and so this will be our 4th annual 5K, and so it's going to be broadcast across the state through the Department of Corrections. And we will also have inmates in different prisons that will be doing this virtually. And they have been participating for the past 4 years. They actually put the name of their victim on their chest and they walk it to prison. And so it's a healing process for victims, and hopefully it will help predators and defendants, you know, to recognize what they've done to victims. But we want to say thank you to the City of Radford for taking care of us for the last years. I have been over there for 10 years, and I know the support that you have given us because of budget cuts in the state of Virginia. And I just want to say thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And Saturday, April 27th is your 5K, right?
Yes.
At Bissac Park at 9 a.m.?
10 a.m.
10 a.m. 10 a.m., April 27th. We'll see you there. We'll
Okay.
definitely be there for it. I've made the other 3. I'm excited to do this one as well. And I hope anyone can come out. Even if you don't plan to participate in the 5K, come out and participate in the day. That is a really important event. And you all are so helpful to so many people in our community, and we can't say thank you enough.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Well, I have the great honor of saying that we probably have the best library in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We know this. Radford Public Library is an amazing resource for this community with wonderful professionals who are innovative and creative, who reach out to our citizens every single day and make a massive difference in this community. And National Library Week is coming up April 7th through the 13th, and Mr. Gillespie has a proclamation this evening. So Seth, take it away.
City of Radford Proclamation, National Library Week 2024. Whereas libraries provide the opportunity for everyone to pursue their passions and engage in lifelong learning, allowing them to live their best life. And whereas libraries have long served as trusted institutions for all members of the community, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, or socioeconomic status. And whereas libraries strive to develop and maintain programs and collections that are as diverse as the populations they serve and ensure equity of access for all. And whereas libraries adapt to the ever-changing needs of their communities, continually expanding their collections, services, and partnerships. And whereas libraries play a critical role in the economic vitality of communities by providing internet and technology access, literacy skills, and support for job seekers, small businesses, and entrepreneurs. And whereas libraries are accessible and inclusive places that promote a sense of local connection, advancing understanding, civic engagement, and shared community goals. And whereas libraries are cornerstones of democracy, promoting the free exchange of information and ideas for all. And whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers are joining library supporters and advocates across the nation to celebrate National Library Week. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Radford City Council that April 7 through 13, 2024, be National Library Week in Radford, and all residents are encouraged to connect with the Radford Public Library by visiting online or in person to access resources and services. Mayor and Council, I'd like to make a motion to accept this proclamation.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Congratulations to our library. Let's give them a round of applause as well. Are you good with going down? Okay.
Subbing in. Resources, not recourses. Yeah.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Come on up here and let's get your picture with your proclamation.
Can we ask an extra favor?
Absolutely, yeah. Oh, these are cool, yeah. I like it. Yeah, I'll pass it. Yeah, sure.
Great. Thank you.
We can't thank you enough for all you do. Absolutely. Congratulations. Happy Library Week. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need to give these back?
Yeah.
There you go. I got one. That's right.
I gave mine back.
I love the library. And I'll just say one more time, the library is truly amazing. It is so much more than a repository of books and information, which it certainly is. It is a community center. And people go there seeking assistance, seeking support, seeking new opportunities, and it really is a wonderful place for our community. I know even today they had an event related to the eclipse with the teen librarians, and I think that's absolutely wonderful. Anything special that comes along, the library is part of it. So thank you. We're so appreciative. Up next, we do have another proclamation. The week of April 14th through the 20th, 2024 is recognized as Medical Laboratory Science Professionals Week. This week is recognized to celebrate the medical professionals who play a vital role in healthcare and patient advocacy, as well as the critical high standards of healthcare. Whereas, originating in 1975, Medical Laboratory Professionals Week is an annual celebration of medical laboratory professionals who play a vital role in healthcare and patient advocacy. And whereas Medical Laboratory Professionals Week was established to increase public awareness of the essential role that medical laboratorians play in support of the health of all individual patients and the public. And whereas laboratory medicine is an honorable profession, which is recognized by all citizens as vital to the high standards of healthcare, and whereas the practice of modern medicine at the standards we now enjoy would be impossible without the scientific tests performed daily in medical laboratories. And whereas medical laboratory scientists provide accurate data to support the timely and accurate diagnosis our patients must have. And whereas these highly trained and dedicated health professionals make an invaluable contribution to quality health care and save countless lives each day by providing reliable laboratory test results required for prevention, detection, diagnosis, and treatment of disease. And whereas the role of the medical laboratory professionals should be recognized as critical to maintaining high standards of health care in Virginia, and whereas during Medical Laboratory Professionals Week and throughout the year, we pay tribute to the hard work and dedication of those who, through attention to patient safety and laboratory testing, their skills provide high-quality care and contribute to the overall health of our region. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Radford City Council that the week of April 14th through the 20th, 2024, is recognized as Medical Laboratory Professionals Week in Radford, and honor all of those who play a vital role in the health and patient advocacy. Council, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt this proclamation. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Congratulations. I don't know if we have anybody here to receive this evening, but I am more than happy to share this. I work with some folks at Radford University that actually train folks in medical laboratory science, and they will be honored to receive this from our community, recognizing their diligent efforts in advancing patient health care. Excuse me just one moment. At this time, we will have our joint public hearing. Before we get started, I'll turn to our Planning Commission and ask, do you have a quorum here this evening, and can you call your meeting to order? Okay. As such, do we have a presentation before we begin the joint public hearing so that folks can know a little bit more about this project and respond? It's coming. I was trying to buy a little time to get it to come up there.
We just like to build up for the excitement.
That's exactly right.
We like to get
Well, while we're getting
y'all worked
started,
up
I will
and
just share a little information before we get going. Our special use permit public hearing this evening is for the New River City RV Resort that has requested a special use permit to construct and operate a recreational vehicle park on tax parcel 24-1-8, which is a 36-acre site adjacent to the New River and West Main Street at the westward city limits, 3080 Little River Road. So the Planning Commission did review this request and requested the joint public hearing for tonight. Do you need a few more minutes?
Oh, we can begin.
Okay.
I'll be more
Here we
than
go.
happy. Here we go. Perfect. Thank you, Mayor and members of council. My office received an application from K&J Properties on February 28th in regards to requesting a special use permit for this proposed RV resort development. This parcel, I'm not sure what's going on, but this parcel is a split zoned parcel. It is both M1 and conservation district, which requires, the conservation district requires a special use permit. It's a by right within the, in the M1 district. As we shared, oh goodness. As you shared, this is located at 3080 Little River Dam Road. It consists of 36 acres. Currently, it is owned by Islands on the New LLC, but is under contract with K&J Properties. The current owner is in support of the proposed special use permit. The current use is single-family home, and as I shared earlier, it's conservation and both M1 restricted industrial zoning. The proposed use is campground and a recreational vehicle park. Existing conditions, it's located on the west side of roads 232 and 605 at the city limits, which extends westerly to the bank of the New River. It also includes 2 islands. That is mainly open bottom below the house, the brick house that's existing. Excuse me. They are proposing the operations of a recreational vehicle park that includes up to 180 spaces. This will have recreation, operational, and administrative facility on site. You can see here, this is the proposed area. Those islands are included within this proposal. Here you'll see the split zoning. You'll see the M1 in the dark gray, and then the conservation within the green. Included, also includes the floodway areas. Both the 100 and the 500 year are included within this zoning. Here's just a depiction of what's the proposal. We do not have a final site plan yet. And once that's completed, and of course we'll get through the special use permit process, we can proceed forward with that review of that. The developers are here today. I do know each of you had the opportunity to go out beforehand. I do appreciate that, to visit the site and have conversations with the developer. But I'd be more than happy to have them come forward if you have any additional questions before we go ahead and proceed with the public hearing.
Council members, are there any additional questions before we open the floor to the public? Planning Commission, any additional questions before we open the floor to the public? Okay, as such, okay.
If I can just add for the record, I did forward Montgomery County did provide some
Yes.
comments. They were strictly making sure we had good site visibility, making sure we're aware of the floodway within the proposed development, and there was one other one, but I will include those within the minutes of the.
I was going to read those after the end of the
Perfect.
public hearing, so.
Perfect.
Okay. At this time, we will open the floor. You please, if you have question or comment, yes. Okay, I can do that as well. Let me get my copy of it here. I had it sitting here. I got it right here. Too many pieces of paper. Montgomery County has received notice regarding the upcoming review of a special use permit by Radford City Planning Commission of an application by K&J Properties for the recreational vehicle park at 3080 Little River Dam Road. Following review of this application, the county provides the following comments. Number one, due to the visibility of the project site from Interstate 81, the county wishes to ensure that proper maintenance of the facility is a priority. Number two, due to the nature of recreational vehicles entering and exiting along Little River Dam Road, adequate visibility at the entrance should be ensured. And number three, due to the location of the property within the floodway, proximity to the New River, the county wishes to ensure that efforts will be made to prevent any pollutants, trash, or debris from entering the river and impacting properties upstream of the development. Thank you. So that's pretty much the entire memo from Montgomery County. At this time, we will open the floor for citizens to come forward with question or comment regarding this special use permit. Please come down to our podium, state your name for the record, and use the microphone so that we can all hear your questions or concerns.
I can get this in 3 minutes.
You don't have a time limit on this one. This is
My
different
name's
from public comment.
Ed Harless. I own a piece of property that borders this property, and I really think that this is a great opportunity for the city of Radford. I haven't met with these people yet, but I'll say this: I wish I was young enough to where I could have an endeavor like this. That place has a lot of history. It's got, you know, when they had the Ingalls, there was an Ingalls mill there. I haven't read it myself. They said Daniel Boone crossed the river somewhere in that area. You could actually put a trail from that park down by where the ferry was, Ingalls Castle. You could bring it right on down. I don't know whether Norfolk Southern uses this anymore. And could bring it right on down and put it right in to the city of Radford. I think it's a great opportunity for Radford to approve this, and I just see great things happening there. Now, it's going to take some doing. I'd be glad to work with these people any way that I could possibly. I cleared off a lot of that property. When you could turn down Little River Dam Road, I took down all them trees against that bank, all of them, and I did some work down there. And of course, I know Mr. O'Brien. Him and I've talked about it, and I would just sort of get the feeling of what you could have there. I mean, you know, you got to look out and see what it could be, not what it is now. When I got that piece of property down there, my wife almost divorced me. She did. It wasn't nothing but stick weeds, gum trees. It was, I mean, you couldn't even see the river. I asked the man about buying it, and he sold it to me. I bought it before she ever knew it. I went to the bank and got it, and she never knew it. And then I took her down there, and I told her, you know, I said, look here, what do you think about this place? Oh, goodness, look here at these crab spiders. I mean, spider webs everywhere, vines everywhere. It was something. But I had a vision. And it turned into something to where we made a good decision. And I think these people that's going to do this, what I've seen, they have a vision. But if you could bring a trail down through there and include it in with the city, it would be great. You've got tubing, you've got kayaks, you've got the New River is well known. I've got a knife set made by Case that talks about the New River that has pictures on it. So this is something really big, and I really do hope that, and I forgot to introduce myself, Madam, and the council. I'm sort of backwards here. I'm just an old country bumpkin. But thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you, Mr. Harless. Thank you so much. Does anybody else have comment or question for the public hearing?
Well, I would like to ask my husband not to buy parcels of property without letting me know first. It's quite an anomaly to have a neighbor actually come in and really be supportive of an endeavor. It seems like typically people don't like to see change, which I understand. I can be a little bit like that myself. So thank you for giving us another perspective.
Thank you. Planning Commission, is there anything else from you before we close the public hearing? Okay. Council, you all have any other questions, concerns?
Just a couple. And you're still married, right? Where is your property? Do you have the camper down on the left?
Yes, I do.
I thought that was yours.
The man that owned that property at one time, he owned it all, every bit of it.
Okay.
And he cut off a place for it for some hogs, and a garden for his wife, and it was just all growed up and everything. And went down to Sports to get a sandwich, and when I came back by, I happened to see a sign laying over, an old wooden sign. For sale, and you could still figure out the number on it. And I called, and I jumped on it pretty quick before I even talked to my wife, because something on the river that will draw people, and I just think it's good. Plus, you know, you've got the college down here, you have you know, it's not too many hotels, motels here. And I mean, it would just be, the vision of
Yeah.
that is really great, the vision of it, or I see the vision of it. I just wish I was younger and I could have a part of it, help do it.
Yeah.
If the Fords were smart, they would hire you as a spokesperson, because you're doing a pretty good job.
You may have a
That's
job
right.
before you
Yeah,
leave here
that's
this
right,
evening.
yeah.
Any other question or comment? You all can come on down and speak as well. We have some of the developers that are here this evening.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thanks for having us. My name's KJ Ford. Mr. Harless, I first want to thank you. We definitely appreciate you. Just a little insight, I actually made an offer on this property and got a contract on it before telling my wife, and she was fairly upset afterwards as well. But we do have a vision for this. Just addressing the Montgomery County concerns, pollution-wise. I've got a habit. I was in Bisset Park running 2 weeks ago, and I've got a habit that I've developed at our previous campground, or our current campground that we own, that even running through Bisset Park, I stopped and picked up trash. It's just a habit that we have. I'd invite any of you all to visit our campground. We own a campground in Hillsville, Virginia, called Lake Ridge RV Resort. I'd invite anybody out there to come visit. Very clean. One of the many comments we get is how clean it is and compared to how clean it was in the past. Entryway to the park is could be very lit, minimum light pollution for the neighbors. But I visited 10 campgrounds a few weeks ago when I was down in Florida. And that was one of the main things we were doing, was looking at our entryway and the signs that we would have at entryway. So lights and the width of the entrance would not be an issue there either. Any other questions y'all have for us? Anything y'all?
Yeah, I'm curious. So are there any restrictions on how long a camper can be?
So what we would propose is 9 months. 9 months is what we would look for. So the camping season lasts.
I'm talking about the length.
As the vehicle.
The length of a camper.
Oh, the length of the camper?
Yeah.
As big as you can get it. So all of our spots are going to be 70 foot. And that should accommodate a 40-foot trailer, which 45 is about the max that you see in the length of a camper, plus a vehicle. And so that should be able to accommodate 2 parked vehicles and a 45-foot camper.
Okay, thank you.
Could you elaborate a little bit on some of the functions and activities that you anticipate having there?
So kayaking, tubing, like Mr. Harless suggested, well, kayaking, tubing. We will have numerous bounce houses there. We're going to have an arcade inside of the clubhouse. Once it's built, we're going to have a snack bar inside the clubhouse. There will be activity pads where we'll be able to host activities, cornhole tournaments. I have a vision for maybe a pickleball court or multiple pickleball courts there. And then also, as Mayor Horton and I spoke and Mr. Harless suggested, connecting the trail. If we can connect the rest of the city of Radford in and make it where people could access it by foot, I think that would be huge as well.
I had a very enlightening conversation when I went to tour the property, and it was interesting that we had approved a project similar to this and that this did not come up. So I'm a stickler on term, how long we have people stay on that site. And last time we had agreed to 6 months. And the point that they made, which was quite valid, was that's fine, except for camping. The primary usage for campers in our area would be at least 7 months, which makes sense that that is the busy time for that particular activity. So that did give me some pause and some thought as to what that term might look like. I still believe that there has to be a term.
Absolutely.
But I certainly could understand you had a very valid argument.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comment? Thank you all very much. At this time, we will close the public hearing. Do you want to adjourn your Planning Commission meeting? Planning Commission stands adjourned. Thank you all very much. Now, council will not be taking an action this evening. We will await recommendation of the Planning Commission from their meeting on April 15th, and we will consider it moving forward. Thank you to everyone who spoke with us this evening. Mr. Harless, thank you very much for your comments. Moving on, we do have some old business that we had begun discussing a few weeks ago. Looking at our city parks and trying to best use the property that we have for the citizens of the city of Radford, the New River Valley, and beyond. At one time, the city parks closed at dusk and opened at dawn, and obviously that can change from 12 hours at some portions of the year to maybe just 6 to 8 hours at other portions of the year, depending on the length of the day. Having said that, we have established a new guideline here that we think will help us with our parks in making sure that they're viable for all folks. It will address some unauthorized overnight stays in the park. And what we're looking at in general is that the park hours would be established from 5 a.m. for an open, closing at midnight each day. Violations would constitute trespassing. It addresses personal property that is left unattended for more than 24 hours in the parks that will be considered abandoned and may be disposed of by the city. And these restrictions don't limit the access to our public boat ramps for launching or retrieving watercraft, which is important because we know some people use the boat ramps in the pre-dawn hours and might stay out a little bit later in the evening hours. Parks and Recreation, as well as the Police Department, have been consulted on this ordinance, and we've worked real hard with our city attorney to draft something we think will be a workable document. It also is not a one-and-done type situation. This is a starting point for this discussion for us to see if this makes sense for our community. We'll have it in place if council approves it for a period of time, and then we may come back and revisit it, seeing how the rules actually work with users of the park. David, do you have anything you want to add?
Just everybody's taking a real deep look at this. There is flexibility when we have special events, and also for folks that are using our boat ramps, so we'll make sure that that's not an issue. But this does seem to appear to be able to take care of some of the lingering trespassing issues that we have, and also property that's left abandoned, in city parks. Jerry's here. Jerry, you might want to say just a few comments from your perspective, because this is a very important police issue. We've been looking at our restrooms and the occupancy there and those kinds of things. So this is going to help us all the way around, and I think give us something enforceable.
Yes, sir, and I guess the biggest misnomer thing we want to address is, when people are using our park for recreation, we have discretion. We don't write every ticket when we encounter people, and this is not aimed at keeping people from running at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning or even using our boat ramps. It's more of an avenue to give us some sort of vehicle to combat some of the problems that we see down in the park that we just, quite honestly, don't want in our parks right now.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions?
No questions, just a thank you to the chief and everyone who's worked on this, because I know that it's been a concern for many people, and I do think that this helps kind of put a tool in their tool belt to work on that. So just wanted to thank everyone for their efforts.
I would like to make sure that we get an update, because I was leaning a little bit more towards 11 o'clock opposed to 12. So just let us know what you need from us when you're dealing with this new ordinance.
Okay. And I'll just say thank you to everyone for helping us work on this. We have been looking at this for quite a few months, trying to determine what action was most appropriate on behalf of the council in establishing the appropriate hours for the park. So at this point in time, do we have a motion to adopt Ordinance 1801, City Park Regulations?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Melissa, will you call the roll?
Yes.
Yes. And I will point out for those who may be watching online, Ms. Artrip is unavailable for the meeting this evening. She's not here with us, but should be here with us at our second reading. Now, I do have a question from a practical standpoint. Having received 4 affirmative votes, we can move forward with a second reading this evening. And part of the reason to do that is we would like to get this ordinance employed as quickly as possible as weather is warming up, so we can address the issue. So is there a motion that we move forward with a second reading?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? A motion and a second. Any discussion? If you'll call the roll again, Melissa.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you all very much. And again, we want to continue this discussion. This is an important piece. For those who might be using the parks for sheltering, for camping, unauthorized, RPD also have a resource guide that they'll be sharing with people. we are trying to make sure that people have the appropriate resources necessary and that the parks are being used in an appropriate way as well. So all of this is part of a process, and we appreciate everybody. Council members, under new business, we need to look at appointment to 2 boards and commissions, our library board as well as our recreation department, our recreation commission. Isabella Calfee is graduating, and so she will be moving on as our teen representative for the library board. Joshua Asimobor, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Asamabor, thank you. Has provided a letter of interest for us. Do we have a motion to accept Joshua as our library board representative?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And for the Rec Commission, Mark Lane resigned from his role. Carl Rigney provided a letter of interest as well. This term only goes through the summer of 2024, and we'll revisit that at that point in time. Do we have a motion to adopt Carl for the remainder of Mark's term? So moved. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you all very much.
I do have someone that did reach out about the library board. They sent an email. They're not a teen representative, but if we have a slot, they'd be interested in filling that role.
Okay. We have one last piece of business this evening. It is an appropriation ordinance, 1787.28, in the amount of $5,000 for the Virginia Risk Management Grants from VRSA, which helps us to be able to use these grants for 2 handheld devices as well as a dog tracking and training collar. These will ensure the safety of our canines should the pursuit come forward where the dogs are let loose. It'll also be able to track their exact location. Chief, do you want to come down and speak on this grant at all?
I think the most important thing to recognize with this grant is we have a lot of investment in our canines and a lot of training. Those dogs cost a lot of money. And when you look at it from a risk management standpoint, if something were to happen and they get loose and then we don't have the ability to find those tools, it's surely a bigger expense, but it's a grant-paid expense that keeps our officers safe and our canine handlers and the canines themselves safe.
Okay. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
And I think it's very important, too, because we want to keep our canines safe as well as anyone they might encounter. So that's an important piece. Council members, do we have a motion to approve appropriation ordinance 1787.28 in the amount of $5,000? So moved. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Having heard 4 affirmative votes, we can dispense with a second reading if so desired. Is there a motion to do so? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. David, what do you have for us this evening?
Yes, Mayor, just a few things. Just a reminder, this is Environmental Awareness Month. We are doing ourselves a lot of pickup, cleanup, fix-up types of things. Would remind everybody we do have a number of adopt-a-spot streets. Trash has been unusually heavy this year because of all the wind and all, so encourage everybody to help us out, volunteer, come out and clean up their spots, that kind of thing. It's hard for Public Works to get everywhere, but do encourage that part of it. We're also extensively doing pothole patch replacement repairs. We got 92 miles of roads, believe it or not. So, if you've got a road that we're missing or haven't gotten to yet, please send that information over to our Public Works Department or call City Hall, either one, and we'll take care of getting it paved over and taken care of. I've had a number of questions about our street lights, signal lights, the little things that are going on top as part of that program that we approved with VDOT. I guess all the way back in the spring of this year, maybe even back into the fall. They were wiring all of our main street lights so that they're actually responsive faster, which has been a goal of ours for some times. When a car pulls up on it, it is able to sense that and the light will change faster. It will also allow programming so that if there's an emergency on the interstate or emergency in town, we're able to program and turn all the signals green and get everybody through town. That helps out a lot with these communities that are our interstate communities. So we're not the only one that's going through this, but The private contractor that's been down there, I've got a number of folks who've said, oh, those speed things, have nothing to do with speed. There are sensors, they're focused in the eyes once they are wired in. The other part of that is the boxes that you see sitting beside the lights are going to be upgraded as well. So once all that's done, they'll all be interwired. That starts that process of being able to interconnect everything together. So great project for our community. It's been some light traffic issues as we've had to detour and that kind of thing while construction has gone on, but it's moving along pretty fast, so that project is going well. Also, lastly, just a reminder to the public, budget is online, it's at the library, it's here. It's balanced $79 million, and public hearing is on the 16th. We'll also entertain first reading of the tax ordinance as well as the budget itself, and then the second reading will be on the 22nd. Also, we have advertised our water and electric rates. Those are both required by ordinance, and then those will be taken up at the meeting on the 22nd, I believe it is. I think that's it, Mayor.
I want to go back to two things real quickly. With the cleanup, fix-up, I know we're going to have a lot of folks cleaning up the parks. We have had some unauthorized camping in the parks. If you are cleaning the park and you come upon a site that appears to have been occupied by someone, I do recommend that you relay that back to us so that we can have our teams work on that. Sometimes there's materials in those sites that the public really shouldn't come into contact with, so that's something we want to address. So if you do come on something that appears to have been a campsite or a sheltered area, please let us know and we'll work on that. Smaller things that you pick up, obviously continue with that, but having encountered some of those myself, that's a little tricky to clean up sometimes and to know exactly what's going on, so it'd be much better if folks can contact us. On the signals, I do want to come back to that as well. Did you have something else on the cleanup?
Just one more thing. Go ahead with the signals and I'll come back around.
So a couple things on that. That is a project that VDOT is helping us with. Can you address that a little bit? Because that's a multi-million-dollar project.
VDOT's funding it.
VDOT's funding it. That's important for people to know what this is and what it isn't. They also aren't red light or speed cameras, as you started to allude to, because I've had several people reach out to me asking why the city of Radford was putting up red light cameras at every location so they could write more tickets. That's not what these are for. There's a computer inside each box that can tell when a vehicle pulls up. It is simply to control the traffic signals. It's not related to the other events, and it gives us that ability. And it is something that is a multi-million-dollar project that the city could not afford on its own without VDOT helping us with that, correct?
VDOT's doing everything, yes. They've had this planned in the works. Radford, Salem, Harrisonburg, there's a number of interstate communities that are being programmed for this.
And this has been a goal for a very long time, so I'm happy to see those go up. So it's a good thing. So go back to the cleanup. Did you have something else you wanted to address?
Now I've lost it.
Okay. If you think of it, we'll come back around to it. All right. Seth, what do you have for us this evening?
I don't have too much tonight. I wanted to thank all the people that we've recognized tonight for all of our various departments. We have some of the best people in the city, and we certainly appreciate them, and I'm glad we were able to recognize them tonight. The Easter egg hunt was a huge success. It was very packed. I think I had to park all the way down at the second shelter and hobble along, but we got there and had a good time and got a couple Easter eggs. So that's just a great event. Kim's really done a great job with that, and it's turned into, kind of the mecca of Easter egg hunts here in Radford. So kudos to her and her team. They did a great job. Also want to thank our staff working on budget. I know that it's been a very difficult and long budget season, and a lot of long hours have gone into it. So thank you for everybody's work and continuing to ask questions and educate us along the process. So appreciate that. Dan McKinney from the Radford Chamber mentioned to me, too, that there is a push for their ballpark signs, that they are for recruitment. If you are and I think Jesse's probably the Radford Chamber rep and can probably tell you more about it, but it is a good opportunity to get your business out there. Not only does it help us, but I definitely think it'll help you. I've coached various sports, and every arena or ball field I've had, I've seen them everywhere, and I think that's a great investment. So if you are a business owner and interested, reach out to Dan McKinney or Jesse or any of us, and we'd be happy to get you in contact with them. I wanted to thank the Fords for their presentation tonight. I know that we've all had a chance to walk that property, and it truly can be something special for this city. I see their vision, and I think it could be a game changer. It's a beautiful property if you've never seen it, and the possibilities there are pretty endless. So I know we're working through the details, but I'm super happy and excited about this project, and just wanted to thank them for coming tonight, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Seth. Bobby, what do you have this evening?
Likewise, appreciate everybody coming up, speaking. Thank you for doing that, sir. In relation to the proclamations, it says a lot about our community, the fact that everybody pulls together and they're committed, and that's just a little small piece of the puzzle when you think about all the people that pitch in together, the chief and his entire staff and entire police department, and too many people to name, and I'll leave somebody off or one department or whatever. But anyway, I'm very, very appreciative of everything they do. Likewise, I'm excited about the prospects down on the river. That's my forte, doing that kind of stuff. I think that's going to bring a lot of business to Radford and gives people another somewhere else to stay. Especially people that have campers, they would rather bring a camper here than maybe stay someplace else. And so I'm excited about that. And I also want to thank everybody for hanging in there during the budget marathon. Is that the budget marathon? But anyway, thank you for doing that, and I appreciate especially David Redpath for hanging in there and working. I don't know how much you worked, and I'm sure I can't guess. I'll probably come up short maybe 40 or 50 hours. I don't know. But anyway, I know you worked hard at it, and everybody here on City Council working together. So I appreciate all that, and I was impressed with the effort from everybody. So I appreciate that, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. Jesse, what do you have for us this evening?
Yes, well, as was earlier alluded to, the advertising banners, I'm going to put some information in the front lobby, but a question that I've had asked is what fields are included, so I'm going to let y'all know. It's Hodge Baseball Field, Veterans Fields, New River Valley Sports Complex, which 4 fields, softball and baseball tournaments from April to October. There's over 20 tournaments so far scheduled, estimated attendance is well over 9,000 people. So there's several different options. So I'm going to put that up front. And also, as he mentioned, you're more than welcome to reach out to the chamber or even look on the website. I'm also going to place in the front the Field of Honor, where we can purchase a flag in memory of a loved one, and it'll be displayed at Glencoe. In the front there, you probably have noticed that when you've driven by in the past. So we're doing that again, and I wanted to let everyone know, the question I've been asked about that is where the proceeds go. So just to give you a quick overview, Radford High School scholarships at RU, Radford Fairlawn Daily Bread, Glencoe Museum, Elf Shelf, Women's Resource Center, Coins for Alzheimer's Research Trust, Sleep in Heavenly Peace, the Wheelchair Foundation, Rotary Efforts to Eradicate Polio, VFW Post 776, and Sunset Park. So a very worthy cause on many different levels there. And while I'm doing all the plugs, the other thing that the Chamber's doing is they're having their annual golf tournament, April 29th, 2024. They're looking for teams, and I'll also put that up front. But again, if you go to the Chamber's website, you will be able to see how much money it is to get involved and what teams look like. So I wanted to think at my desk today, one of our citizens named Michael had dropped off a book for us to read, and I want to thank Michael for thinking of us, and I'm looking forward to reading that. And again, thank you so much. One thing that I've been walking in the community, what people have been asking me is a little bit more about the EDA and the POP program, what exactly those entail. And I was wondering if council would like maybe to have someone come, a representative of each of those, and just give more information so we know and also the community knows exactly what is available out there, if that'd be possible. The other point that I had is I want to just put out the reminder that I would like to start seeing those corporate tours scheduled. So we know when they're coming up and they're planned in advance, and we have a calendar of those to make those a priority. Still, I'm interested in meeting the Arsenal commander. I did have someone reach out and ask me about Wadsworth Street. They noticed that we have been doing some updating on the sidewalks, and they were asking if we have any plan to make those wheelchair accessible, as that's the main thoroughfare. So I'm not sure where we're at with that, or how difficult that might be, but that was something that was brought up to me. We also discussed last time about the panhandling issue and some possible signage. We did all kind of exchange some signs that other communities have used, and I would like to get that back on the agenda so we can discuss that and take an aggressive approach and move forward with that. I was just with a bated breath at seconds away from a bad accident surrounding that the other day that I witnessed myself. Someone was stopping to give money, and it created a little bit of a crisis. So I want to make sure that that's on our radar. We want to remind everyone to look at the light across from the theater. That is one of our lights that we're kind of sampling when we do some of the improvements downtown. So we'd love to get some feedback on that. If you don't mind, take a look at that. I still have to get down there at night, but I'm committed to do that. My last thing is, one of the committees I was on, it feels like forever ago, was the creation of the new logo. And one of the great things about our logo is each department, they're able to create a little bit of something special for each department. And the Department of Social Services, that's one of the boards I'm on, they took a little bit more time, got a lot of input from the department. They now have established their logo, and you're not going to be able to see it, but it's 3 people at the top joining hands making a circle. And this they wanted me to actually give to the mayor.
Oh, wow, thank you.
So there you go. So
Thank you very much.
And that's all I have.
Well, and I'll just echo some of Jesse's comments and those of other council members. You know, thank you to everyone for working so hard on our special events. When we have an event in the park, you've had Public Works down there taking care of the grass, setting up things, Parks and Recreation, police, fire, EMS, that whole team, tourism. Really, just about every element of the city comes together to welcome thousands of citizens and guests into the park for those special events. So we say thank you, and what a big success. We appreciate all the efforts. I do agree we want to get back on the corporate piece. And in fact, one of the things that I think would be a neat element that we need to bring forward, a lot of people don't know what all we make here in Radford. You know, we have some companies that make things that go all the way around this planet and are even on other planets in our solar system. And I think it would be really neat if we're able to better showcase that as a community to let folks know that you can make it right here in Radford, VA, and that's an important piece. We have some new friends who've come to town, as well as some people who've served for many decades. So I think us having something that celebrates that is really important. To the point of the proclamations this evening, we always want to thank those who work hard in our community. And I have to point to Mayor Brown and previous councils, Mayor Starnes and previous councils who have done that as well. But I will say this council has made an increased effort to recognize even more accomplishment in our community, anniversaries and things that are special. I will point out to our community, if there's something you think that we haven't celebrated appropriately that's taking place in Radford, please let us know. We want to use this platform to celebrate all those members of our community, and that's a really important part of what we do. Thank you to the Chamber for all their hard work. As you heard tonight, they're involved in so many activities, including the Easter egg program. Anytime we have a special event, the Chamber is right there making a huge difference. Dan McKinney, the board of the Chamber, does an amazing job, and we are so appreciative of all of that. And I'm really excited to see this new social services logo. When we went down this path of creating a new logo for the city, we really wanted to try to find something that would unify us and that could be unique but would bring us all together. And I'm so happy that they have chosen to do that, and that's wonderful. Two quick things I wanted to point out. The red buds are in bloom. The red bud is Radford's official tree, which we adopted last year after a decade or so of it being one of our signature trees. And you'll see those all around the city. The beautiful lavender blooms just really enhance the spring throughout the community. The eastern red bud is native to the New River Valley, to the city of Radford and to Southwest Virginia. And this weekend, the Radford Red Bud Festival, which is headed up by a couple Radford folks, will take place just across the river at Nesselrod on the New. And I hope you all can come out for some of that activity on Saturday, April the 13th. I also wanted to reiterate the 5K for National Crime Victims' Rights Week on Saturday, April the 27th. And there's all kinds of events taking place all month. I will talk a little more about Arbor Day and Earth Week at our next meeting, but that is April the 26th, and Earth Day is April the 22nd. This evening, Councilwoman Foster and I had an opportunity to meet with some of our friends from the Student Government Association at Radford University. We always love an opportunity to talk a little bit about how to get more people involved in elections, government, in working with folks, leadership, and all of that piece. And I was just a tag-along. Jesse did an amazing job, as always. And thank you to Lisa Gadati for being here this evening, who helped coordinate that and pull that program together. She is the government relations person for this, the Radford University and for the President's Office. So thank you so much.
If you want to feel good about the future, talk to some of the leadership in our schools and universities. These students are amazing. They give me hope. They really do.
And that brings up another good point. And I mentioned this not long ago, and we need to reach out to our school board as well. I'd really love to see us bring back Student Government Day here in Radford at a higher level. It's been a little while. The pandemic sort of waylaid us a little bit. But that is a wonderful program. And for those of us that are from Radford, I know we got to participate in it at a pretty high level. I would love to see us bring that back at a high level and invite those students to come and spend a day with us and enjoy a council meeting and find out all the fun that we have in budget meetings and commissions and boards and all the good stuff like that. Having said all that, we will go on ahead and entertain. Oh,
Two quick things.
yep.
So I forgot to mention to you, we have gotten approval from VDOT, American flags for the bridge again, so just want to let you know that. And then also, for clarity on the READY program and the appropriation, with the abstentions and the absence, it will be back on the agenda on the 22nd.
Okay. That's what we were getting to with all of that, and thank you for that clarification. If there are other questions, email us. We'll be happy to respond to you, and we'll go from there. With that, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do we have a second? Second. All in favor say good night. Good night. Not too bad.